Yeah, we'll
So,
start that again, Kim, with
okay, this is the idea virtual meetup for our conference in Texas 2025. Today is February 7th.
yeah.
And do you want me to read these guidelines out loud? Is
Uh,
that
or I can just like summarize them super quickly. So since we are going to talk about topics that are deeply personal, we're just saying that we're going to be respectful of each other, and we might disagree with each other in this call, but anyone who's being rude or racist or any sort of just like normal outside of, or the behavior outside of the norm rather, they'll get removed from the call. And we're asking that everyone mute their mic and then use the raise hand function that's at the bottom of their screen if they would like to speak during like the question section.
thanks? Perfect.
Yeah, so our IDEA committee is the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility team. It's one of the committees that we have that brings together staff members, board members, executive committee members, and then folks in our larger global glass community. And I couldn't remember exactly when it was founded. Brandy might know better, but I know it's been in existence at least since 2019. And one of the things that this committee does is work in conjunction with our other committees like the conference and communications to make sure our programming is diverse, inclusive, accessible. So for example, with the conference, we put together an accessibility guide every year that goes through, if we're looking at a conference venue, do we have curb cuts that lead up to the conference venue? Are there stairs that are unavoidable? Do we have elevators and stuff like that? Just to give people a sense in advance of what the accessibility is like when they're on the ground. And then this is everyone in our committee. Kim, do you want to kick us off with like a quick intro?
Sure. My name is Kimberly Thomas. I have been on the gas board. This is my 3rd year. I'm an artist, a flame worker. I make lots of little cute things, some stuff that's not cute, but they're very small. And I live in North Carolina right now at the Penland School of Craft because I am a resident here.
Thanks, Kim. And I know Zach tuned in, so if Zach's available to do a quick intro, that would be super awesome.
Hello. I'm Zach Abella. I'm currently studying at Southern Illinois University, Carbondale. I'm the North American student rep for the gas board. And yeah, very happy to be on the board. A lot of my work revolves around Native identity and expanding opportunities for youth in glass.
Thanks, Zach. Fumio is also on the call today. If you would.
Hi, I'm Fumio Adachi, and I'm joining this meeting from Japan. And yeah, I'm an artist, and probably I'm moving to Seattle this year, sometime this year. That's all.
Yeah, and Fumio is one of our community members on this committee who's not on the gas board or staff, but was somebody in the community who is interested in talking about IDEA. I don't know if Philip got on, but he is a queer artist based in Calgary, Canada. And so a lot of his work is focused on queer identity, and he is a new board member for us here at GAS. We are very excited to have him on board. I know Brandy is on the call.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brandy Clark. I am the Executive Director of the Glass Art Society. I am currently in the process of relocating to the United Kingdom, and I have been with GAS since 2018, and I am very excited that we are here today for this meetup. As Amanda said, the IDEA committee we voted at our retreat in 2018 to form the IDEA committee. and it has been meeting since early 2019. But this is our first, I believe, community meetup of this form, and very excited that you've all joined us for it. So thank you.
Thanks, Brandy. I don't know if Ben came on the call before I had to switch over to this view, but if Ben is not here, I know I could intro him. I don't think Ben's on. Ben Cobb is the manager of the Hot Shop program at the Museum of Glass in Tacoma, Washington, and has been on our board, I don't know how long. This will be his last year on the board.
6th year. Yeah.
Yeah. And this has been one of the committees that he's been on since, I think, pretty much the beginning. He's also on our conference committee too. And Annabelle is one of our new board members too, and I know she's on the call.
Hi, everyone. I'm Annabelle Javier. My family and my husband's family own Paul Wisbach Glass Company. Like Amanda said, I just joined the board in October, so this is my first year. And as a Filipino American, it's important to me to make sure the glass community is welcoming and accessible to everyone. So that's why I'm on the IDEA committee, and I'm just happy to be here.
Thanks, Annabelle. I also don't know if Kayla made it on the call, but she is another one of our new board members and works for Pilkington Glass. And I know Natalie is on. If you wouldn't, you don't have to turn your camera on. You have your mic.
I didn't turn my camera on. It's early in the morning here, so I'm sitting in my living room. I just wanted to say hello to everyone. My name's Natalie Rodriguez. I'm the president of the Glass Art Society board, and IDEA is something that I think we all hold dear because our community is so broad and deep and diverse. And I think it's important for us to celebrate the totality of who we are. And so I'm thrilled to be on the committee and thrilled to be at the meetup.
That was so beautifully put, Natalie. I don't know if Danielle is on the call, but she is another new board member who owns Remark Glass out in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and they are focused on sustainability. So it's really interesting to have that crossover too between folks who are involved in green initiatives and IDEA initiatives too. And I don't know if Gigi is on either, but she was someone who reached out to us and was a non-staff member and non-board member who wanted to be part of this committee. And I believe she's currently working out of Brooklyn, but Kim might be able to correct me on that. And then, of course, last, me, Amanda Sterling. I am the communications manager here at GAS. I have been working for GAS since May of 2023. IDEA has always been a passion of mine in the glass community. Like Natalie was saying, our community is so diverse, especially with GAS being an international organization that spans continents and all sorts of different techniques in glass, people from all sorts of racial different backgrounds and gender, sexuality, disability. And so I feel really passionate about listening to folks in those communities and then doing the best we can to make the glass community an accessible and diverse place. Oh no, my image didn't load. That's sad. We wanted to talk a little bit about what we have in store at Texas this year for our conference happening May 14th through 17th. We are going to be in Arlington and Fort Worth. I'm actually currently in Arlington doing a site visit. And our main conference venue will be UTA, which is the 5th most racially diverse campus in the US and is a pioneer in accessibility. I actually just toured their campus yesterday, and one of the things I was really impressed about is that anywhere where there are stairs, there's also a ramp. Like every single location, they have really nice wide curb cuts everywhere, and almost every single entrance into a building has automatic doors, so you don't have to try to push anything, or you don't have to try to push an accessibility button on the side of the door that may or may not work. We'll also be at Seneca Studios for 2 evenings of programming. They are the only public access studio for glass in North Texas. They will be the host for our Firestarter fundraiser, which will feature a demonstration by the world-renowned De La Torre brothers. and they are also organizing a Thursday night gallery hop that's going to feature local glass artists in a variety of venues, to be confirmed. But some of the folks who are currently interested are people who have tattoo studios and restaurants. So it'll be really cool to see glass and that kind of venue too. And we have a diverse array of presentations from across the glassmaking spectrum. It's a really neon heavy program. It's a really flame working heavy program. And we have super cool presentations, like our conference kickoff will be by the Black Femme Collective led by Spider Martins. And they are going to do some hot glass casting and hot glass working in conjunction with work at the Iron Foundry that's right next door to the Hot Shop at UTA. Jen, who is our conference manager, is also on this call, and I wondered if there was anything else that Jen wanted to highlight from an idea perspective about our programming in Texas.
Hi, everybody. I think y'all have covered it brilliantly so far. It is going to be a really fabulous conference. And for those of us who perhaps suffer from what I call hangry syndrome, you should know that there will also be lots of great food and drink options available on the UTA campus, as well as at all of our special events. So for anyone who's ever determined that they are slightly addicted to caffeine, myself included here, we will have coffee and as well as all of the accessible restrooms that one might need after imbibing such beverages. So yeah, we're working really hard both to highlight the amazing and inclusive glass community in Texas, and to make sure that everyone is comfy, well-fed, and having the opportunity to experience all these great programs. We also will have, in addition to physical accessibility, we will have quiet chill spaces for people who might need to step away from a crowd, recenter themselves in some place that is designated as a quiet space. We think that's also super important for anyone, but especially those who might have different, who are maybe not neurotypical, to be able to go and relax where they're not expected to interact with anyone for a few minutes. So combination of signage and designation of those spaces will help with that. And for anyone coming in internationally, we will also make sure to have some great charging stations for if you are relying heavily on your cellular devices for translation or anything like that. So we'll have a recharging station where folks can come and get juiced up. But yeah, y'all been doing a great job of covering it so far, and we're just so excited to welcome you to Texas.
Thanks, Jen. I was also wondering if Natalie or Brandy had anything they wanted to add in terms of what it's kind of like being on the ground here in Texas. I know this week I've been super impressed by just how warm and welcoming everyone has been for me. And then I was walking around Fort Worth the other night, and just I was seeing pride flag after pride flag at all of these little gay bars downtown, which definitely helped me feel a bit more welcome. It's a politically turbulent place, but there are definitely a lot of folks down here who are doing really good work to be inclusive.
I will chime in, and I will be completely upfront that I am biased. I'm from Texas. I was born and raised in Texas, so I do have a bit of a skewed view of it, but it does have some turbulent political background to it for sure. But the Fort Worth, Arlington area is also very rich culturally, and it is a large city. So you do have a lot of diversity in it. You have a wide range of people, and it is such a welcoming community. And I think that was one of the things for me. The planning meeting was in August, where we took a lot of the executive committee and some of the conference committee members that had never been to Texas before, meeting with the site committee to curate the program for Texas. And so that was there were several people that had never been to Texas before, and seeing their reaction to just meeting people on the ground and just being in that space and what it was like was really great and was really rewarding for me to see, because again, I openly am biased towards it. But it was really great, and Natalie just turned on her camera, so I'm hoping that means that she's going to speak to her experience, because she was one of those people that really had a preconceived notion of what it was going to be like going to Texas, and left feeling very differently than she expected to.
It's true. I am going to talk about that.
Yeah. Then I will let you do that, Natalie.
In Canada, the kinds of news that we get from Texas is deeply problematic. And so going to Texas I was going to be neutral and reserve judgment till after my trip. And I will say that I was very surprised at, again, how warm everyone is. The politics there are very difficult, but the campus itself is the 5th most diverse campus in the US. I was looking at all the mobility access points because that's something that I'm interested in. When the conference was in Toronto, accessibility was incredibly difficult because it's an very old place, and accessibility is not on the top of their chart. But like Amanda said, the fact that all the doors are automatic open, the fact that there's ramps and easily accessible elevators was great. And then just looking at the student body, it was definitely a campus that wasn't just, that was very, very, very diverse. The other thing that I do is I tend to talk to the taxi drivers that I take, or the Uber drivers. I always chat with them because I feel like they have a better sense of what a place is like. And all of them loved having moved to Texas from all over the world. So that doesn't negate some of the challenges. That doesn't negate some of the politics. That doesn't negate some of the historical things that are happening right now. But I can say that I certainly felt very comfortable on the campus as a South Asian woman, and at the other sites in Fort Worth. And yeah, and I'm happy to answer any questions about my experience should that need arise. But Texas was fun.
Yeah. Thanks, Natalie. I think that perspective is really important to have too. And one of the things that we're trying to also be more transparent about is most folks don't know how we pick conference sites. It's not, oh, hey, Seattle sounds good for a conference. Let's just go there. These sites, you submit their application several years in advance. And it's kind of challenging to have a conference site because you need to be able to host 800 to 1,000 of us crazy glass people and have food and drink available for all of us. And then your glass making facilities that you have to be substantial enough that you can fit, 100 to 200 people in for a demo or a lecture. And so it's very challenging to find sites that have the capacity. And UTA and Seneca, they kind of co-sponsored doing a site application together. And in that application, we ask not just about amenities and what facilities are available, but we ask, how does this place align with our values at GAS? And they were really good about answering that question and talking about inclusion and diversity and why it's particularly important to do it in a place that is politically turbulent. This is where our community is here in North Texas. It might be an unexpected glassmaking location, but they are really doing some great work here. Yeah, Brandy.
Another important thing that for us to look at when we're looking at different sites for our conference is the community, because they may have the best facilities in the world, but if they don't have a strong glass community, a community that is going to support a conference, a community that is supportive of one another, and that is really inclusive and welcoming, that's not a community that is going to work well with our group, because that is at the top of the list of what is important for us. Is a community that is going to welcome artists from all over the world that work with glass in all different ways and come from all walks of life. So that's really what we look for in the communities that we work with. So that is at the absolute top of the list, are the communities themselves and how they act when nobody's looking. And that was one of the things about Texas that really impressed us, was the community that they have there, because they have created a really strong community. And even Texas is big, and it has not a lot of glass folks when you compare it to Seattle, the Pacific Northwest in general, but they connect across the entire state, which is really quite impressive given the size of it. And the way that they support one another and really reach out, and the response we've gotten when they heard that the conference was coming from Texas, it was really, really exciting. And again, especially my being from Texas, just knowing that all of these glass people were there that I wasn't aware of really made me feel a sense of excitement that I wasn't expecting, honestly. But that sense of community and seeing how they work and how they stand up for our beliefs, like Amanda was saying, seeing that it isn't just the fact that they say that on their application, but seeing how they live that, how they walk the walk when in their own communities, when they're not applying to host a gas conference, is something that we look at, and is something that is really important to us. And the board meets and the board talks about those things. So it is quite an in-depth process.
Thanks, Brandy. Yeah, I think all of that perspective is super important too, of just the overall community that's here in Texas. And for those of y'all who will be joining us this May in Texas, we will have a physical in-person IDEA meetup too, where we'll be able to talk more about what IDEA means for gas and any challenges that we're facing in Texas, or just getting acclimated to Texas too. And we will determine that soon. We're going to try to fit it in with all of the other meetups and cool activities that we have planned in Texas. And we only had one question come in advance, so I will ask that right now. And it was about kind of the makeup of who's on our committee and kind of how we're addressing accessibility. And so I don't think oh yeah, Anne, because this was your question. Oh, you are on mute.
Can you hear? Yeah, you can hear me now. I'm Ann Potter, and I'm actually going to come to the conference, and I'm a wheelchair user, so I'm excited about having an accessible venue. Actually, last Friday, Jason gave me a Zoom tour of the studio, and answered all my questions, and I was just absolutely thrilled with how welcoming they are. And really, my question has been answered just by hearing all of you talk about why this committee is here and who you are. So you've all been doing a great job of answering my question before it was even asked.
I love to hear that, Anne. And you're also going to be one of our presenters here in Texas, and I am very excited to hear more about you're kind of doing an interesting approach to where it's like a demo, but then also a little bit of talking about accessibility in a hot shop facility, which I am super excited about.
Yes, and Jason and Jeremy have been very helpful, because I do want to talk about some of the things that I do differently than most glass blowers. So I think it's important for people to understand why being innovative is what I'm saying is important for people who have all sorts of challenges. Mine's very obvious because I use a wheelchair, but so many people have invisible disabilities and they need to be accommodated too. So that's part of what I'm going to talk about as I do my demo.
Yeah, I think that will be a really engaging presentation. I hope everyone makes it to that demo. We don't have any other questions lined up in the queue, but if anyone else has a question about what IDEA means for us here at GAS or anything about our Texas conference, we have a whole bunch of experts on all of those things on this call. Right. If we don't have any further questions, I wanted to thank everyone for joining our call today, especially our committee members who are in far-flung locations across the globe, some of whom are getting up very early or very late in the evening for them. So thank you everyone for making time for this call, and we hope that we will see you in Texas this May 14th to 17th. If you haven't registered yet, you can go to glassart.org to start your registration today. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.